Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, a very special welcome to you. My name is Leah Simpson. My channel is Homeschool at Heart, and today we're going to be talking about what I read in the month of January. All right, you guys, I'm excited. This is my first video like this one. And it was requested after I did like my big what I'm going to be doing with my book goals over this year. So I'll see if you guys are gonna actually watch this. So I'm excited and a little bit nervous about it. So let's dig into what I read in January and what I thought about these things. So first off, I am not spoiling anything. So there won't be spoilers. I'm going to be pretty general in my comments about the books. I will tell you guys, sorry, I'm like waving my pen. I will tell you guys what I thought about the books and what my ratings were. But I will not tell any kind of endings. I won't give away anything big about any of the stories. So I may give like a general overview, but nothing that you wouldn't find like on the back of a book or anything like that. So don't be afraid that I'm going to tell you, because one of the books that was like Rebecca Yaros's new release, Onyx Storm. So I'm not going to tell you guys anything. That was like a big reveal that happened in that book. So don't be afraid that that's going to happen. So go ahead and watch this video without any kind of fear. So nothing, you're not going to find out anything that you wouldn't have found out by reading the back of the book. So I'm not going to do anything to upset the delicate balance of all of that. All right. So I read 6 books in the month of January. I'm like, what month did I read? Because it's already February now. And I've read 1 book already in the month of February by this time. So it is February 5th as I'm filming this, and I'm well into book 2. All right, so I read Assistant to the Villain, Apprentice to the Villain, The Storyteller, Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting, Onyx Storm, and The Unmaking of June Farrow. Guys, all of these were pretty good. So I'm going to start with the first book that I read, and I have my cute little planner that I showed you guys in that video before, and I will link it in the description box below. I will also, I don't know if it goes in the cards up here. So when I watch on my TV, they don't ever show up here. But when I watch videos on my phone, the little like box that you can click on shows up above the person's head. So I'm not crazy. I am pointing up. If you're watching on a device other than your television, there is a little box that does pop up. So anywho, I have my little thing out here that has what I've written down so that I don't go on forever about all of these books and make this video super long. So we're going to try to keep it short and sweet. All right. So Assistant to the Villain. This is almost all of these I borrowed from the library or listened to on Audible. So I did get this one on Audible. So it is in my collection. I would have rathered borrow it from the library, which I use the Libby app so I can listen to the audio of it. It's forever mine now though, so it's a romantasy, which means that it's like a fantasy / romance genre. I gave this one a 3.5. And I will tell you why right now. This was entertaining enough, but it felt odd because I felt like it couldn't decide if it wanted to be quaint and old or modern and edgy in the phrasing of everything. So I kept being pulled out of the story because of the weird inconsistencies. And so then I'm going to read the second one though, which I threw myself directly into the second one. So there also was, in this one, there wasn't really a lot of like spiciness. So it was pretty mild as far as all of that goes. There was language in it. So as far as the language goes, they used the F word several times throughout the book. However, they had their own version of like the word hell. And I can't remember what they used instead of that, because they had their own, it was like, you know, a fantasy world. And so they had their own place instead of hell. And so they talked about that place instead. They used that word instead. So they had like a bunch of their own, like kind of like, they used that instead. So it was weird to me that we're using our own curse words for some of it, but we are going to use the F word anyway. Anyway, it was just stuff like that was like strange to me. I couldn't get into it. It was very funny though. Like the main character, Evangelina Sage, she was very quippy. She was a very funny main character, which is why I decided to go ahead and read the second book, which is Apprentice to the Villain. Same author, obviously. I was able to get that one from the library. It's the same genre, the romantasy. So this was the second book that I read, and I gave it a 4-star rating because I felt like I was already in it. So I don't know if the language was growing on me and I was just used to it by now, or if it was that it was just like she just did a better job of it in the second book. But it felt like it was smoother to me, and I felt like the pacing of it was better too. So it just moved quicker, it was smoother, and I felt like it also got funnier. So like the other characters were funnier. It wasn't just Evangelina Sage that was funny. It was all of the characters. And so then I found out that there's a third one in the series that's coming out in July. So I am actually looking forward to the next one coming out. So I will be reading the next one when it does come out in July. So I am looking forward to that one. So that was a 4-star. So I have a 3.5 and a 4. Then we switch gears completely out of this like funny fantasy type realm, and we go to the storyteller. This is one that, so all of these are like being promoted like big time on Book Talk, right? So these are all, and I'm just like, okay. So the first one, I'm like, okay, Book Talk. I feel like you done me dirty, right? I was kind of like, everybody's telling me how great this is gonna be, and I am not feeling it, okay? So then I get to the storyteller, and I'm like, okay, is this gonna be the same thing? Am I gonna just, is this overhyped, basically? I'm worried about this being overhyped. But this is not supposed to be, you know, a quick light read like Assistant to the Villain or Apprentice to the Villain. This is a historical fiction, which I love a good historical fiction. So, and it's, you know, like World War II historical fiction, which I love. So we're gonna, you know, I'm like excited about it, okay? This one's by Jodi Picoult, and you guys, this was my best book of the month, okay? I was riveted. I gave this one 5 stars, hands down. If I could have given it more than 5 stars, I would have given it more than 5 stars, okay? It was for sure the best book I read all month. So this the main character's name is Sage, which is funny because I just realized Evangelina Sage, she is called Sage throughout the Assistant to the Villain books. But the next character's first name is Sage. So anyway, just me connecting those things is, never mind. Anyway, so we have Sage, and then we also have multiple characters that we get point of views from. So multiple POVs, we see them. So we have a fictional character that we get right off the bat. And then we have an old man, and we have her grandmother, and we have an FBI agent, and we have, I think, somebody else. Maybe not. Maybe that's it. Anyway, we've got several POVs. So like at least 4 going in this story. So, but let me just read to you what I wrote. This book was amazing. I loved the multiple POVs. I loved that it was mostly clean. There were very few expletives. I loved watching the change in the characters over the course of the story. And I loved that the ending was very unexpected. And I posted this on my Instagram. Guys, this story was just like so, like, I've not ever read such a well-told multiple POV. Like, everything was so intricately like woven together. It was just gorgeous. I highly, highly recommend this one. It was just so good. I would be an adult reading this just because there's a lot, and it is World War II. There's Nazis. There's, you know, there's a lot of violence. There's a lot of, you know, like it is a war story, but if you're cool with it, if you like historical fiction, this is the book. Okay. So loved it. Okay. So, I listened to that one. Also is a really great listen. It would also be a really great read. It might be easier to keep track of if you were like actually physically reading it, but I did really enjoy listening to it. So Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting was my 4th book. This one was actually my physical read of the month. I only read 1 physical book, which was kind of sad for me, but that was what I had time for. So I kind of like read that throughout, but I finished it 4th. So Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting was recommended by my nieces. So thank you, Amanda and Jessica. And I think Jamie read it too. So Simpson family, my husband's family, his nieces are all adults. And so I think maybe all of them have read it. So there's several of them. So maybe Amanda and Jessica and Allison and Jamie and Maddie have all read it, maybe. And Valerie is his sister-in-law. Maybe she's read it too. I might be the last one. Anyway, it is kind of like Jane Austen-y, but like has like kind of mystery vibes to it. It's a hoot, you guys. I'm not even kidding. Okay, so this is by Sophie Irwin. And it's kind of like a short little book. It's 325 pages. It was written in 2022, so it's not old. It's so it's got like kind of like a taste of the old English language, but like it's written by a modern writer, obviously, and so it's like easier to read. So I actually handed it off to one of my daughters because I was like, she wants so bad to read Jane Austen, but she's like, Mom, this is like so tough to get through. And she reads like crazy. But I was like, here, why don't you try this? I think you'll like it. It's really funny. And she was like, oh, okay, cool. So it's kind of like Jane Austen in that she's like kind of making fun of that Regency society where they're like all trying to find a husband and we can't, you know, like take care of ourselves as women and all of that. So it's super funny, historical fiction kind of thing. So the main character is Kitty Talbot. They're in London society. And here are my thoughts. It was a fun, witty twist on a Jane Austen type novel. It was super lighthearted and I really enjoyed it. There were a few awkwardly worded parts or stilted dialogue, or I would have given it 5 stars. I gave it 4. But I thoroughly enjoyed this book, you guys. I love Pride and Prejudice is my favorite book of all time. I have written a musical about it. That has been performed here in Southern California. There's been 3 6-weekend runs of it, I think. And I've also written a musical of Sense and Sensibility. And I don't write the music, the script. And that's how much I love Jane Austen, though. We'd be besties if she was alive today. And this was excellent. So highly recommend. Let's see. Okay, so we got 2 more to go. Sorry guys if this video is getting long. It's 16 minutes so far. Okay, we can do this. All right, Onyx Storm. Let's talk about Onyx Storm, you guys. I loved Onyx Storm. So I have listened to it, okay? I have listened to all 3 of them so far. This is a romantasy. This one is very spicy though, guys. Okay, so it's not like every page is spicy, but there are multiple scenes. So like, I'm gonna say there's like 6 or 7 maybe in this particular book. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's an over guess, but I would rather over guess than under guess and have you guys be like super shocked and be like, Leah, why didn't you tell me how many there were? There's quite a few, I feel like, scenes in this book. Maybe it's not so many. I don't know. There's at least a good 5 or 6. Okay, guys. Scenes in this book that were unnecessary, in my opinion. And I don't love spicy scenes, okay? I don't. I feel like in these particular spicy scenes, you could cut them completely out of the book. And they're, like, the entire story is still completely intact. I feel like you could just say they closed the door, you know what's going on behind the closed door, and there you go. They open the door back up and then they walk out and you're good. Carry on with your life. So anyway, that's my opinion about that, but I do have to let you know that it's in there. Also foul language. So this one is a rated R book. So if you want to read it and you don't like those things, then I'm sorry. Please don't read that one. Okay, but I did give it a 4.5, okay? So this book, the main character is Violet Sorrengail. It is at Basgiath War College and in Eratia and then in a few other places. So I have so many thoughts and emotions about this book. I am not going to give spoilers. I will repeat, no spoilers, okay? I'm gonna skip this one thought because I don't want to give spoilers, okay? But I finished the book yesterday and I was sad. I'm sad the next day. The book kept moving the entire time and there was just so much information packed into each chapter. There were so many cool reveal moments about the main characters throughout. I really wish that the next book was coming out sooner. Guys, the reveal moments in this book were wild. I will say that about it. The entire time, you just keep going, what? Every time you turn around, you're just like, things just keep happening and you just keep going, I don't know if I can take another thing because it's just, they just keep throwing things at you and you're just like, what? Every single time you turn around. So I feel like it was just one of those books that just kept it just kept going. And you're like, Rebecca Yarros, what are you doing to me? So it was definitely one heck of a ride. So you gotta read it. So All right, and then the last book, I thought that Onyx Storm was going to be the last book of the month, but then I had been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for The Unmaking of June Farrow to come up on my Libby app. It was one of those things that I keep 10 holds on my Libby app at all times. And so when I get done reading one, I just go find another one to add to my list. And it was a weird thing where it was like several months wait or something like that. If you're a Libby user, then you know what that's about. And it was like 6 months. I added this thing like 6 months ago, and I was like, I don't know when this is ever going to come up on my holds. And it just did. And I was like, okay, it's a short one. But I had no intention of finishing it in the month of January because it came up on the 30th. And I was like, I'll just start it and we'll see what happens. And it was so mind-blowingly good, you guys. I finished it on the 31st. I was like, I can't put it down, but it was an audiobook. But guys, I could not stop listening to it. It was so good. 5 freaking stars. 5 stars. I didn't even write anything down because I still don't even know, you guys. I still don't know what to write about it because it was like, I haven't written about it on my Instagram. I lay in bed thinking about this book. So it makes me think of, it's a mystery book. So I'm like going to be really careful about my words here because I don't want to like give anything away. Okay. It's a really short book. There's like very little spice in it. I think there might be a few curse words in it. Not very many though. When you're a kid and you go into a fun house and there's like that room that's like full of mirrors and you're just like looking at this mirror and there's like a million images of you and you're like, wow. That's kind of the feeling you get when you read this book. I guess. I don't know how else to describe it. It's a little bitty book, but it was like a huge wow book for me. It like really rivaled The Storyteller for a top book, and like I had a hard time choosing between it and The Storyteller from like my top read for my like, you know, best book of the year for my January pick. But I knew how to describe The Storyteller, and that was kind of like the reason I chose it, because this one is still like blowing my mind, and I kind of like feel like because I can't wrap my mind around it and can't like really express all the things about it, I kind of like felt like I had to go with The Storyteller. But guys, I need somebody to read this book so that I could talk about it and like process it. But I felt like there were like 2 possible endings of this book. And anyway, I can't say any more things. I'm going to ruin it for somebody. So I got to stop. I got to stop there. I got to chill. Anyway, read it though. Guys, I'm not kidding. Please read it. There's nothing scary. So mystery, it's not scary. So if you're like, mystery books scare me, you're not gonna be scared. It just was good. It was good. And you're just gonna be like, it's a thinker. It's a thinker. And you just, yeah. Anyway, maybe I can't be a book talker, guys. Because I can't. I would just be like, I can't. It's just this book. It's this book. I just need somebody to talk to about it. I need somebody to talk to about it so bad. So, Amanda Knox, I'm calling you out right now. You need to read this book. Right now. So that I can talk to you about it. Anyway. All right, you guys. So that was what I read in the month of February. That is what I read in the month of January. Okay, guys, that is what I read in the month of January. The first book that I read in the month of February was I want to pretend that it was on purpose. Perfect for Black History Month. It was not. It was totally just came up on my Libby holds list. It was Small Great Things, and also by Jodi Picoult. Perfect though. It was perfect for Black History Month. And it's about, I'll wait until I tell you guys. Look it up though, because it was so good. I'll wait until I tell you guys about my February books next month, because it was a stunner. So anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. Let me know in the comments if you want to hear more about what I read in the month of February, and I will see you guys soon. All right, guys, funny story time. All right, so I have a funny story about one of my kids and the funny things that they say. So we have, this one's quick because this video is long. We have a homeschool meeting every month where our teacher facilitators, we have one for our elementary student and one for our middle school students. Our teachers come, we have a meeting where they look at all our kids' work and talk to them about what they did throughout the learning period or the month. And it's a great time. We all enjoy it. We have a good time talking. So the kids are in a musical theater class, and their recital this quarter is about food. I can't remember, what is it? Food, Glorious Food, I think is the title of it. Sorry you guys, my hair is like so crazy this time. I don't know what the deal is with it. And some of the things are VeggieTale songs, and our middle school teacher facilitator was like, oh my gosh, my favorite VeggieTale song is Barbara Manatee. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's my favorite VeggieTale song too. In fact, our minivan, her name is Barbara Manatee. And my oldest child goes, good old BM. And I was like, I just about lost my mind. I was laughing so hard, you guys. I was like, Beth, you can't call her BM. And she's like, why? And I was like, that's short. That's like code for bowel movement. She's like, she just felt. Anyway, then all three of us were on the floor laughing because she didn't know. Anyway, she was a good sport about it. She usually is. So, funny things Beth says. We're just gonna hashtag it. Funny things Beth says. So anyway, that's my funny story for you guys today. I will talk to you in my next video.